Hey guys, welcome to the Colorado A-List podcast. We're building a thriving business community based on generous leadership and authentic connections. I'm your host, Matt Brower, and today's episode is brought to you by GetAround. GetAround is a community-focused car-sharing platform where people can rent cars in their neighborhood by the hour or by the day. Whether you're running errands, traveling, or heading into the mountains, GetAround can help you get there. They've also worked out a great deal for us listeners of this podcast. Visit get.co/Colorado A-List to get $50 off your first ride. It's go time. Hey guys, our guests today are Colorado entrepreneurs that are being disruptive in a specific part of the law industry. First, we have Eric Voogt. He's a lawyer by trade. He discovered an opportunity to build a tech platform for law firms to connect with qualified process servers when legal documents need to be delivered. In addition to co-founding his company Proof, he runs a law firm. He serves on the board of Heritage Camps for Adoptive Families and is a husband and father of his son who's 15 years old and a daughter who's 12 years old. Joining him is his co-founder and director of customer experience at Proof, Stefan Ramsbott. Stefan is a founder of multiple tech startups here in Colorado, and he's been a friend of mine for several years. He's also a father of two girls, ages 10 and 7. You guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having us. I've listened to some of your podcasts, and it's quite an honor to be on with you today.
I appreciate you guys taking the time. So I would love to jump in with understanding, how long have you been a lawyer?
I'm going on 20 years now.
Okay. So you've been a lawyer for 20 years, and 2-3 years ago you discovered, hey, there's this opportunity in part of the process that I can build technology around, just make better for the experience of everyone involved. At what point, can you tell us a little bit about how you came to that conclusion, how you discovered that, how the idea came to be?
Absolutely. So I say this to folks when I talk about Proof. I'm a little embarrassed it took me this long to come up with this idea. I've been a litigator, which is trial attorney, for 20 years. And every lawsuit, every defendant has to be served with documents. And to be served with documents, you have to be handed those documents. Whether it's a witness or a defendant. Believe it or not, there's 20 million lawsuits filed a year in the United States.
Wow.
This is a $4 billion sort of secret, weird industry. So I've been doing that type of work for a long time and have heard the complaints from my paralegals and legal assistants about the way the service of process industry works, how there's no adoption of technology. We're still faxing documents, writing checks, all the things, calling call centers, all the things that folks don't want to do anymore. So heard all those complaints throughout the years, and really what triggered it for me is I started to hang around with some entrepreneurs. Friend of mine, Matt Jaffe, and Stefan Ramsbott here with us today through EO, and just listening to those guys and gals talk, I think helped me think out of the box.
Yeah, I kind of got inspired.
Right, I took my experience with the inspiration of these now, I'm proud to say, fellow entrepreneurs.
That's great. And for those that don't know, EO stands for Entrepreneurs Organization, global organization that helps entrepreneurs from all industries kind of come together and champion each other on whatever they're up to.
Right.
I've been involved in that for several years. Big fan of the organization. So
yeah, great folks, part of EO. So
yeah, that's cool. And Stefan, do you want to talk a little bit about what you and Matt have kind of done in the past?
Sure. So my background is primarily on the tech side of the entrepreneurial space. And my business partner at 303 Software, Matt Jaffe, and I founded that company in 2006. We launched a product business in the healthcare space in 2012 called My Rounding with a couple of partners in the healthcare industry, and that was acquired by Huron Consulting in 2016. Right around that time, Eric came to us with the idea for Proof, and we were in a prime spot to take on a new challenge, and this one was one that seemed super exciting. Just totally non-sexy industry that was ripe
Yeah.
for disruption that nobody was really tackling.
Right.
And so we did a lot of research. We brought in another great a guy that we'd worked with in the past, Mark Krylov, who is the CEO of Proof, and really founded the company with the four of us and kicked it off a little over a year and a half ago.
Nice. So in a year and a half, actually, before I say that, I just want to make a comment about something you said, a non-sexy industry. It's really interesting how, fintech started happening several years back. A lot of technology has been interjected into the oil and gas and energy industries at this point. I don't know if I've never heard the term law tech, but it's probably a good...
It exists.
Yeah, so it's probably a good description of kind of what you guys are doing. Prop tech is the new, commercial real estate. That's another industry that's, not sexy, but there absolutely needs to be more technology built into the whole process. And so kudos to you guys for taking something on like this. And it's one of these ideas where somebody goes, how is there not a technology built for that yet? It's those types of things that are going to be wildly successful. And my understanding is that in a year and a half, you guys are already not just revenue producing, but actually like knocking it out of the park. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. First, your first point, I talk to a lot of lawyers and paralegals now, and they all say, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't think about this first." I get a lot of envious reactions. So our trajectory has been not without challenges, of course. Starting something from scratch and questioning every bit about the way it's done today by the incumbents is a difficult thing to do. So I don't want to give the impression that this is easy, but we did our pilot last summer. So with 3 law firms, including my law firm and my paralegal. And I remember we had a meeting at my office, and my co-founders were like, "Okay, well, how's it going?" And I was like, "Well, let's hear from my paralegal," and brought her up to the conference room on the 3rd floor, and she goes, "I hate it."
Oh, wow.
Right. She's like, "This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You really just don't have the customer experience you need." We kind of went back to the drawing board, relaunched in August of last year, really got it right, still making changes, and by the end of 2019, we expect to be on $1 million top line run rate as a company. So we've got that market traction. The challenges now are really building the business, creating the team behind that, and expanding further and further outside of Colorado.
Wow. So, and how many law firms does that equate to? Which markets are your major markets?
So we obviously started here in Colorado. I think today we have over 400 law firms that use us, and the Colorado Attorney General's office uses us, which is a real feather in our caps because they trust us for the delivery of their legal documents. We still do the majority of our serves in Colorado, but we are strong in places like Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, Arkansas, where I'm from, Kansas, and have started making some tremendous inroads in states like California and Florida. So we have servers on that side of the two-sided market everywhere in the United States.
Nice.
And we have law firms everywhere in the United States. But those are really our strongest markets to date. But I think we have 80 law firms sign up approximately a month, most of them sort of organically. They just hear about us or see us on our website, so Google Ads. So it's been a great trajectory, at least in the last 3 or 4 months.
That's great. And you just touched on it a little bit. My next question actually is going to be, what do you attribute that success to? Is it your marketing strategy? Is it that obviously this technology does not exist, so it's words getting around? Talk a little bit about the growth and how that has occurred.
We were always a little concerned about, hey, I'm a lawyer that's known in Denver. Is it, are people trying us because, I've called my contacts and said, try us. And we found that that's not true. And I think the real reason, it's not our marketing strategy, it's the technology and the value add that provides to these law firms, and especially to the folks that order service of process. And for a paralegal who has a lawsuit that has to be delivered to half a dozen folks. They're across the country, to be them companies, government agencies, or individuals. She has to find a service of process company in each one of those geographic locations. She has to fax, negotiate the deal, how much is it going to cost to each of those folks. Then if she wants a update on where it is, she has to call each of those folks, who then call the server, who's actually delivering the documents, who then call the gatekeeper and calls back to the law firm. Then the paralegal alerts the lawyer in charge of where each of those are. It's a tremendous waste of time.
It's as clunky as it gets.
It's clunky. It's $19.99. Even the leaders in the industry, the regional players, you have to call up a call center, and you get what's universally hated, the message that your wait time is 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
And then they get on the phone in 12 and a half minutes, and they're nice as can be, and then they tell you, well, I'll have to call the server or our affiliate, and then we'll get back to us, and then we'll get back to you.
Right.
And so what our technology does is make all that transparent. Our theory of business is, why not have the server and the paralegal connected with some great transparent technology? So all this paralegal has to do is upload her documents. Technology reads those documents. It pulls out the defendant's name. The paralegal adds the addresses for each of those defendants. She hits a button, and the technology finds the servers via their mobile phones, the mobile app that we built in all the locations that are closest to those defendants. The documents then are printed at FedEx, our partners. They can geolocate the nearest FedEx on their app. And then the law firm, the paralegal, on her web app can track each move the server makes. So track each attempt with geolocates and photographs, send a chat message to the server directly, get an update that way, or just open up each job and see exactly what's happening with those delivery of legal documents.
Wow. So it's almost like the paralegal can see exactly where the server is at during the process.
Absolutely.
So the issue that we were just talking about before we started of the server not delivering the document, but then saying that it was, that goes away because, hey, I have proof on my phone right here.
Now she can see that he or she, the server, has been at the location, can see the photographs that's been taken, and can read exactly what happened at that attempted serve. Mm-hmm. So it eliminates for the judge and for the law firm a lot of the doubt about whether these very important legal documents got into the hands of the defendant or the witness that's now being summoned to come to court.
Right.
It's, I used to, this is a little funny aside, I'm a lawyer. I care deeply about the law. And I used to tell people, oh, what's the side hustle you got? And I used to talk about Alexander Hamilton, who is one of our founding fathers, who wrote, the Constitution that requires due process of law. Mm-hmm. This is due process of law. I used to talk about that all the time at cocktail parties or in my discussions with paralegals. And, man, people's eyes would just glass over. So now, when I talk about service of process and introduce my side hustle, which is now dominating my professional life, I ask them, do you know the one, I could try to inject some pop culture, the one movie where, and I'm going to ask both of you guys this right now, the one movie where the protagonist, the hero, it's a comedy, where his vocation, at least for the first 15 minutes of the movie, was process server. Does anybody know?
process server. What era are we talking about?
Yeah, maybe this movie was
90s?
made. No, maybe 8 years ago. Seth Rogen is the protagonist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No,
Was there another one where he had a
the movie name
process
has a
serving
fruit
scene?
in it, pineapple.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express.
That's it. You remember the beginning of Pineapple Express, right? Where he's
That's right.
he's driving around in his big old Cadillac, and he's got a trunk full of disguises because he's got to get get close enough to people to get these legal documents
To be served.
just to be
Yeah.
served. And so he's posing as the pizza guy or the doctor to get close to the doctor to hand these documents. So now I talk about Pineapple Express, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's right, Seth Rogen, driving
Great
around
movie,
his
yeah.
Cadillac." Yeah, and so they get it. Alexander Hamilton, even though he's got this Broadway play, people are not interested in that part.
Right. That's funny.
So, and from my perspective coming in, I've been out of the day-to-day aspects of the business for the majority of the last year, and have just recently come back in to run the customer experience side of the house as the business now is really scaling.
Yeah.
So, I see a lot what Eric and Mark and our Chief Marketing Officer, Allison, have been living in for the past year. It's kind of that slow grow. Like when you see your kids every day, you don't really notice how big they get. All of a sudden, they're a year later and they're a foot taller. And proof from the outside looking in has just matured so much over the past year, and I can see that now jumping into it. So it's a really exciting time to be in the business and to be focusing on the growth and scale side of it. So what Eric alluded to, our equivalent of a pizza tracker for paralegals to follow along as the serve gets done. That's really been the highlight of why our service is leaps and bounds above the traditional act of process serving. You don't have to hop on the phone anymore to call and check in. Everything is right there on the platform. You can log into one web app that's mobile friendly. You can see it on your phone. You can see it on your desktop at any point during the day. So when you have a case coming up that you have to get this notarized document in front of a judge in a day, you know that it's going to get done. And we have a over 90% success rate over time of serving, which is also outstanding in the industry and something that we work on every day to make sure that we're maintaining. And now my role, which again, I feel very lucky to be jumping in at this point, is to make sure that we're keeping those customers happy, to make sure that the technology is keeping up with the demand. And, Eric touched on the point earlier where his paralegal got really direct about and honest. Yeah, I was going to say, this is trying to keep this mostly PC here, but just really was vocal about all the things that were going wrong with the platform early days in our pilot program, which is, a great testament to why you should be piloting technology when, from an entrepreneurial perspective, anybody building an app, anybody building a business, it's just such an important part of the step. But now, a year in, we've really honed in on a lot of that user experience, and we now know that the app is delivering, the system is delivering on what the paralegals are asking for. So now we're tweaking and honing and building efficiencies in. And it's really the fun part of the scale and focusing on the new industries and the new markets.
Are you guys discussing at all, like 5 years from now, 3 years from now even, any other things that you're gonna, like add-ons or what else you're gonna get into in this industry?
Yeah, we got a lot to do with proof, a lot of improvements. One thing that we are investigating now with proof is, the use of audio or video. Right now, the judge has the ability to click on the geolocate to verify that the serve's been done, but we don't know who's answered the door at the house, and so we're looking to have now, in one of our new iterations, a link that the judge can click on, the law firm can click on, that is an audio or video recording of that transaction. So we're continuing to try to improve.
Provide more proof.
The proof. Thank you. You beat me to it. But so, as I think about my journey as a lawyer and all the things that we can do better as law firms, one of the biggest challenges we have is we've priced ourselves out of 85% of the legal market. The studies are 85% of the folks that want to engage a lawyer believe or cannot afford a lawyer, and it's a real problem, access to justice in the courthouse. And so my hope is that we'll continue to adopt technology as law firms and as lawyers. And one of the things that I think is vital in our marketplace, our app, is it's doing it on a small scale. It's making things more efficient, so you have less staff time and you can charge less to your clients. One of the things that I really hope we get into in the future is developing an app where do-it-yourself folks that have courthouse matters can get a lawyer without having to go visit that lawyer, without having to go through all the admin hassles.
Yeah.
Something like where you get hooked up via a mobile app. You can do that with doctors now.
Yeah,
Why are we not
telemedicine.
doing that with lawyers? So as you're moving through the litigation process, you can have sort of this a la carte conversation or meeting with a lawyer. And if we have technology that takes care of all the administrative part of that, then that can be more affordable to these folks. So one of the things that I want to investigate further with Proof is some technology that allows that provision of legal services at a more affordable rate.
Yeah, I mean that's another example of how does that not exist yet? I mean, as fast as we're moving in other industries, it just seems like
lawyers and courts are resistant. Things
Yeah.
go very slow in law firms. It's another great thing about Proof. We found the way in to law firms through the paralegals. They are buying our services every day at an accelerating rate. That's something that makes our company valuable as well, because we have and will continue to gain more and more customers. So
right.
And one segue there, I would say that Eric did have some early vision on what I would say the democratization of legal services. We do also allow what are called pro se serves through our platform. So that's any individual as an individual person, and you don't have to have a law degree, can serve somebody. This is a relevant case would be an eviction notice for kicking somebody out of your apartment that hasn't paid your rent for a while. But there are a number of other instances as well. But as an individual, I can go to the Proof platform, sign up, and upload legal documents that need to be served to somebody and get that served done as well without going through a law firm.
Oh, really? So anyone needing any sort of legal document, that's like what's that company called? That not LegalZoom.
LegalZoom.
Yeah, LegalZoom is a resource for average Joe like me to go and find a document because I'm looking to create an LLC or I'm looking to, whatever the case. So that's also a portion of or a part of kind of what your platform does.
Absolutely. You go to our website and
Wow.
it's a DIY tab there, and you can sign up and do your pro se serves that way.
That's huge. Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's a huge market, right? Because they're not repeat customers, so the traditional service of process company isn't targeting those folks. So we found, because our technology is easy to use and efficient, and there's not a lot of hands-on there, it's less of an investment for Proof to serve these folks. It's this market that is really untapped out there, and it's only growing because lawyers are expensive, so a lot more people are moving through the court system on a DIY basis.
The analogy I can think of is, doctors. I know that I have a cold. All I need is antibiotics. Being able to connect with telemedicine with a doctor instead of having to go sit in the wait room and, do all the insurance documents and all that stuff just to get the prescription I know I already need. It's kind of like I know that my tenant's not paying. It's time to evict because I've Googled and I figured out how long of a time I have to wait for that. I just need the document. It's a great idea.
Right, and why is it such a process to get some legal advice?
Right.
We ought to be able to find a way through technology, and maybe thinking differently about the way we provide legal advice to get that legal advice to folks that need it in a much more affordable way. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Have you guys come across any hurdles with the law firms? Anything that they're pushing back on because the industry has a hard time adopting technology? Anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we hear most from lawyers, paralegals love this because it makes their job easier. It's something that they can check off, and they can easily find the status of just right on their web app. But lawyers will say, "Well, I've got a guy, and I trust that guy. How do you vet your folks?" And so everybody that signs up as a server for proof, background checked, 2 years of experience. If they need a license in that state, they have that license. They have insurance. They need a bond in that state where they're serving. They have all that. But what the key is to quality service of process is the transparency.
Right.
Right? I mean, they see every move, so there's no faking it.
Right.
There's no faking it. And at the end of the day, the servers get reviewed by the paralegal or law firm and the pro se client. They get 1 to 5 stars. It's the Uber analogy. My parents were like, "Are you crazy? I'm never going to get in somebody's car, some random Uber driver's car." That's what I hear from these older lawyers. Well, I've got my guy. I don't trust your guys.
Yeah.
But because we've eliminated that gatekeeper, that middleman, the server, and put the server directly together with the law firm, the server gets the lion's share of every dollar that the law firm pays, and that's the financial motivation to stay on the platform.
Yep.
And they stay on the platform by getting good reviews. So it's all transparent and review based. It's very much like Uber in that regard.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
And a fun example of the process or the technology kind of helping this transparency. We've caught process servers saying that they were serving somebody, but our app is tracking their location, so we know that they're sitting on the side of the highway on I-25 instead of being at the residence where they're supposed to be. So we do a lot of vetting of the drivers that are serving papers for proof to ensure that quality can be maintained, because ultimately our name is on it.
Yeah.
And then the goal, if a law firm, the objection that we commonly hear is we've got somebody that's serving for us. They've been doing it for 20 years. Our goal eventually is to negate that objection by having those process servers on our platform as well, because it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
To be using proof to serve papers.
Yeah. So how does it? What are the qualifications to be a server? It sounds like you are not only always looking to build the client side, the law firm side. How about the qualified server side? Are you guys helping that community become qualified? What does that look like? Build that side of it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always recruiting new servers in places where we need them. I think we have over 100 throughout Colorado and every nook and cranny, 250 in Texas. So it is a big part of what we do. I think the transparency helps with some of that quality. So we're helping them there. Servers are difficult to please, but if you look at our reviews out on the internet, they like us because we've said, "Hey, you can talk directly to the law firm. We trust you. We're going to pay you more. You're going to keep more of the served dollars because of that." And I think that's all driving up the quality of the servers that we get and the quality of each serve. So it's kind of crazy. In a state like Colorado, you have to be 18 to serve papers. You don't have to have a license. You don't have to have any training. And the only other qualification is you cannot be a party to the lawsuit.
Okay.
So that's it. So anybody
Seems
can
pretty simple.
do it, but anybody can sign up and do it. We require 2 years of experience again and a background check, and that you get good reviews on our website. But it takes a little bit of a detective. It takes a little bit of somebody that has the proper motivation to get the job done. And our servers have shown over and over again that they can step up to the plate like that.
Yeah. One of the things I love about Uber is that Uber provides an opportunity for people to earn a living that maybe are new in town and they can't find a job, or maybe they want to make their own schedule and work when they want, and or maybe they're just looking to make a little extra money on top of their current job. I think that's a really cool aspect about Uber. You guys are doing the same thing for the same purpose. I mean,
right. These guys are gig economy workers.
Right.
Some of them are full-time servers.
yeah,
I mean, that's all they do every day. There's a lot of private investigators. They have that side job where they do PI work for law firms and also serve for proof. And then we have some folks. We've got a grandmother that's serving in Colorado, and she does it, not as often. She doesn't pick up as many jobs that are offered to her by the technology.
Right.
But she does a heck of a job when she does take those jobs. So that, it is very much a gig economy thing for a lot of people.
That's great. That's great. Well, just so whether you're a law firm, and I think a lot of lawyers actually listen to this podcast, whether you're a law firm or you are somebody that's looking to earn some extra income and maybe get into the service business, how can folks reach you guys?
Yeah, so the quickest way to find us is to go to our website, and that's www.proofserve.com. So PROOFSERVE.com. You can get all the information you need there. We have an app in the iOS and Android app stores. So the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store, you can download that as a server and sign up directly through the app, upload documents, and contact us through that to be qualified to serve for proof. And you can also reach out to me directly at Stefan@proofserve.com. That's STEFAN at proofserve.com. I basically am in charge of making sure that all of our customers are happy and engaged and continuing to use the platform. So
Nice.
We also have an incentive for your listeners as well. If anybody is interested in trying out the platform, we'll give them a free serve, the equivalent of a standard serve. That's valued at $75, and they just need to enter Colorado A-List as the free serve code when they sign up, and it's just Colorado A-List, all one word.
Awesome.
And you
Appreciate
can
that.
try out the service. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And not only, just a reminder too, not only I might not have a need to serve, but maybe I have a need to pull that legal document that I know I need to evict somebody or something like that. That's
Well, we don't have the legal documents on the platform.
Okay,
just
gotcha.
the act of serving through the platform. So
I see.
the legal
Okay. I
document.
misunderstood that before.
We can certainly help. If anybody has any specific questions that they're already on the platform.
Yeah.
But typically, they will have that document ahead of time. They'll know that they need to serve, and then they'll use proof
to actually serve that, yeah.
initiate
Yeah,
that serve.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's the last thing I want is to have to go knock on the door of my
Right.
tenant that I'm going to kick out. And, yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
That's great. Well, appreciate that. That's awesome. Let's transition into the rapid fire section of this. I don't know if you've heard a couple of the episodes so far. I like to ask questions just to get to know you guys more on a personal level, or the listeners too. So, for both of you guys, what's your book that you're reading right now, or listening to if you're on Audible?
As a lawyer, I read and write a lot, so I'm not a heavy book reader. I'd say that, the book that pops to my mind, and this is not, this may be revealing. I love to travel, and so, do you know the Lonely Planet series?
Oh yeah,
The guidebooks.
I have one of their books on my coffee table. Yeah.
Right, and it's the physical presence of that book, the excitement that it brings to mind when you pick it up, or you're on the train ride in Europe or Southeast Asia, or you're on the plane to go somewhere, and you've got that Lonely Planet book. You can, of course, get them online now, but
Yeah.
something about that dog-eared book and the excitement that it provides.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
I guess that's what popped in my head.
Yeah, that's great. One of my goals or intentions at some point is to just flip through my book. Each page is a different part of the world. A really cool photo.
Yes.
And just flip to a random page and say, okay, that's where I'm going next.
Yes,
So,
you'll be living then.
yeah. Stefan, how about you?
So mine, I've got usually have a guilty pleasure read or some sort of fiction read, and then work related book that I typically listen to on Audible. So right now, the guilty pleasure, I'm rereading the entire Dark Tower series, Stephen King.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
an avid Stephen King reader as a kid and just ate up everything that he put out. And never got through the full series, so I'm reading that now. I'm in book 4 of 8. It is a behemoth, about 4,000 pages total. So that'll be a long project.
You think they're ever going to turn that one into a multi-series movie?
Well, they just launched a movie last year, I believe, or the year before. Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. It was good.
Oh, what's
Kind
it?
of summarized. This is the Dark Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll have to
It's worth a
look that
watch
up.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then the more business or nonfiction book that I'm listening to right now is Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers, which is fascinating.
yeah.
Really interesting.
I've listened to some of his podcasts,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Thought-provoking. So, being tech entrepreneurs, what's your favorite technology that you use on a daily or often basis?
I remember when the iPod came out, and I'm a big music fan, and it was extraordinary to have all that music at your fingertips. So I'm going to say what I use mostly from technology, and it's not cutting edge anymore, but it's the streaming services like Spotify through Sonos at the house or on my phone. That stuff provides me a lot of pleasure. So
That's great.
Yeah, I would say besides Grubhub, which is not the fanciest app, but definitely utilitarian and works well. Probably Waze. I always have Waze on in the car, know how to get everywhere in Denver, but with traffic these days, it's great to have it on just to know the quickest way to get somewhere because I'm always probably running about 5 minutes behind
Absolutely.
everywhere I'm trying to be. So that's probably my go-to app in the car.
Yeah, that's great. How about who's your hero?
First folks that come to my mind are my parents. Yeah, I think we're all parents here, and parenting is really, really difficult, and I have such new respect for them. They seem to have done it with the grace and relaxation that I'm not living right now. So I'd say I'd start with them, and then anybody who's helping the underprivileged in this world, the folks that didn't have all the advantages that I have had growing up and throughout my life. I don't have a specific one in mind, but the folks that have sacrificed financially to help the folks that need it the most those are the day-to-day heroes.
Cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would think when I think of hero, I think of who inspires me, and I flip that around a little bit and say my kids right now, which is kind of an interesting way to think about it. But obviously, not from an experience perspective, but just the innocence that they have and the way that they look at the world, completely without bias and judgment, is inspiring to me, and I think gives me hope about the new generation and what's happening in this world, and hopefully that people will finally take some of our larger issues that we have seriously, and motivates me to be a better person constantly.
Yeah, that's great. So, it might be the same answer, but my last question is what drives you right now? Like building this company and being a parent and just everything that you're up to in life right now. Is there anything that drives you, that vision?
All right, I'll keep the mic for a second. I would say kind of two things at this point in my career. I've been doing this for, almost 25 years now, and really excited about transitioning at some point in the next 5-10 years into more of a give back philosophy. And went through a Techstars program last year, and give first is their mentality and their philosophical approach to business, which is something that I've always kind of inherently felt as well, that you're not really doing the right things if you're not thinking about the benefits that you're seeing out of work or personal life, how you can pass that on and pass it along to somebody else that maybe doesn't have the same opportunities that you have. So that's really a goal and objective for me, is to transition my career into that phase where I'm doing more giving than taking. And, it's been all about building and earning and achieving for the past 25 years. And I feel like I've accomplished a lot, and maybe certainly still have a long way to go. But that's really what excites me and inspires me at this point, is the ability to do that. Focus on the family and time with the family, as my girls are 10 and 7 right now, and we're highly engaged, and we know we're going to lose their attention at some point.
Yeah.
So just staying focused there as much as we can, and having the ability to just be present.
That's awesome.
You stole my thunder a little bit with that, but
Yeah, how do you follow that? No.
yeah, no, that's great. And I was going to say something very similar to that. I look forward to continued success and the point when I can give back a little more. And we've spoken a little bit about access to justice and the high cost of providing legal services. I hope that is a real inspiration to me, is to be part of that movement, to get people the legal advice that they need to solve the problems that they have in their lives. And I hope to direct my focus more and more to that. The other thing that, if I find the time and have been continued to be blessed with success, is mental health. That's a big thing that's important to me, and I've had some experience with that in my life, and so to give back in a mental health way, because it's such a problem for our country today.
Yeah.
That's something that I very much like to be a part of.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, the first part of that, circling back to your passion for the law, kind of giving back to the community through that. So
absolutely.
That's great. Well, you guys, thank you so much. This has been an incredible conversation. Very excited to see what's next for you guys with Proof and all the, future things that's gonna you're gonna be building on top of that. And just as a reminder, this podcast, the intent of it is to build a thriving business community based in generous leadership and authentic connections. Thank you both for your generous leadership today, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.